At the start of the year, I made a video called Why Chainsaw Man Was Forced to Change, where I talked about the controversy surrounding the reception of Season 1. And around the conclusion of that video, I had this to say about the upcoming movie.
The Reze movie will be great. For that much, I have no doubt, but will it capture the magic that Season 1 did for me?
Looking back, this seems like a relatively normal thing to say. It gets my point across, it conveys my bias, and sets up a pretty lukewarm prediction about the upcoming movie. But if you watch it back a bit more closely, you might have noticed something deeply wrong with what I had to say. It's that I said fucking Reze like that. Reze, I get it. You could not have gotten a worse pronunciation out of the widest brand in Wisconsin. Okay, my Westernese is fucked up, but more importantly, now that I've seen the movie, I can finally have an opinion on it for real. And I think the best way to get into that is by answering the million-dollar question. Did the Reze movie capture the magic that Season 1 did for me? No, fuck no, 1 billion times no, and that's because the movie is a very different kind of magic from Season 1. But let's take it from the top. Season 1 of Chainsaw Man was crazy. You see the way a bleeding Denji stumbles away from a horde of zombies, or the way Aki forces himself upright to charge down the Katana Man. That's establishing very grounded human limitations on these very human characters. I know what teleports behind you means in Demon Slayer, and I also know that Aki cannot do that shit. All Aki can do if Fox fails is run at you. I can do that. It's scary to me because I have those same limits, and that's not enough in this world when these are their goddamn ops. They even have guns. That's not a fair fight. Granted, Aki gets a sword made of eldritch horrors, but you know what I mean? That eerie, uncanny feel for the supernatural is what I think makes Season 1 such a great introduction to Chainsaw Man's world. There's this certain grime and grit to the show that creates this sort of disillusionment in the story. Denji is living on the absolute minimum a human being can possibly have. Forced to work for the Yakuza, slept in the shed, sold one of his balls, you know how it goes. So of course, he comes to the big city with wide eyes, endless possibilities, and decides he wants some simple living. He goes, you know what? I want to grab some boobies. That's it? Did I do that right? Let me try again. The fuck? These are not comfortable scenes. They're awkward because Denji is awkward. They're disgusting because being bird-fed when you are not a bird is disgusting. This crude humor punctuates a cast of gnarly behavior because that's what happens when you just don't know what normal human connection looks like. That's the disparity between Denji and reality. But then, what happens when you get to experience that semblance of normalcy for the first time? That's where Reze steps in. 5.5 hours have passed since the end of Season 1. Just enough time to get some sleep, but not quite enough for it to be beautiful. Suddenly, boom, the opening kicks in. Stop! Copyright prevented. Power gets whisked away from the plot for fun. Aki is assigned a boyfriend to babysit, and Makima sets her status to do not disturb after a single date with Denji. And just like that, Denji is on his own. He gets assigned his own boyfriend as compensation, but Denji doesn't swing that way, so he looks for the nearest girl instead. Enter Reze. Reze is not like other girls. She's normal, which is unlike anything we've ever seen in Chainsaw Man. She works her part-time job, studies for her classes, and really likes guys named Denji. Huh, that's weird. So she gets to work. Immediately, she looks at and laughs directly at Denji's face. 80% of men have folded immediately. But what she failed to realize is that Denji is not most men. Denji is a man with a powerful, primal beast slumbering deep within his core, and so he doesn't fall for simple strategies like laughing at all of his— oh, nope, and here she is giving him a compliment. As you can see, he could not leave. This is pretty much the premise of the movie. I'm gonna be honest, I came into this movie having seen the trailers with the simplified colors and Denji 6 feet vertical, and I was mildly concerned. I loved what they did with Season 1 of the anime, and the movie was different. I hate change. I hate it. But honestly, once you get past the first, I don't know, 5 minutes of this arc, the movie really does feel like if you just took the saturation slider and went, yeah, like that. And I think that's because the writing hasn't really strayed here. The jokes fly roughly 6 feet higher near the beginning, but otherwise, this is still Chainsaw Man. The humor still thrives in that offbeat sort of way, and it's more than willing to slow things down and lock in on character acting for these quieter, more subtle scenes. I think the most interesting thing the Reze arc does is play with your perception of how this world works. After what we see with the Yakuza, you kind of just come to accept the life Denji is stepping into. I mean, he's excited, so baby steps, right? The trade-off is simple. He risks his life to take care of literal manifestations of fear, and in return, he isn't killed by his employer, retail. But Chainsaw Man does not let its story get away with these things. The devil is in the details. For instance, Denji is a horny main character. Okay, let's add a woman who take advantage of that fact. Denji is provided the bare minimum a human needs to survive. Okay, why? Like, what the hell? You don't even go to school and you're out here risking your life? You're a minor! Hello, HR? This is a very normal reaction to this kind of situation, and it is also Reze's reaction to this kind of situation. That is why Reze matters, because she's so normal. This is what normal girls do when they look at me. Reze is pretty much the first person in the story to say, hey, what the fuck is going on? We don't think about these things as we're watching. We're just getting a sense of how the world works and going, yep. That's shonen. It's why when she offers to teach him how to read, it feels almost removed or unimportant to the story. I mean, it is, but you don't watch fucking Dragon Ball to see Goku learn how to read, right? The norm of this world is fundamentally different, and so being a normal kid was just never in the cards for him. Chainsaw Man plays on that exact feeling. Denji was never gonna be a normal kid, but by staking that story in an otherwise normal human world, you're able to carve out the gravity of Denji's situation. And with all this in mind, Reze makes some big moves and invites him to sneak into a school with her at night. Right? They wander through the halls, they go through this dumb little crash course together, and it becomes this mesmerizing sequence that feels young and wild and free. You watch as Reze teaches Denji how to swim. You see how she pulls him along through this blur of bright lights and lively stands, and you begin to float away too. Is this love? Is this what would be best for Denji? Then why does everything about it feel so wrong, and why do I not care? Reze's infatuation with Denji, Denji's inability to control himself. I don't know what this is, but I can tell you that push-pull is magnetic. Normalcy is the last thing you would expect from this show, and that is where the magic happens. It's this pursuit of pure, undying sincerity, even in this hellscape of a world that makes Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man. Did she just bite his tongue off? Where the movie really begins to differ is that this is the least serious arc ever. You know how in season 1 everyone was dead or dying or about to die? That happens here, but like, not to anyone who matters. In season 1, Himeno's death was devastating. That shit was a tonal massacre for the next couple of episodes. You still get these oh shit moments from Kobeni or Makima, but it's a short-lived, almost novel palate cleanser when you're drowning in the gravity of what just happened. In the movie, none of that shit matters. The movie is more like, oh my god, is she blowing those guys up? Teehee. Hype guys, this is so hype! Heads fly like balloons, Reze does whatever the fuck this is, Denji rides a shark into a tornado for the bit. The entire second half of this movie exists to be exhilarating and hectic and fun. I don't talk about animation enough in these videos. The level of polish that went into this movie has Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 in tears! It's a level of spectacle that you can't help but marvel at, and all the movie asks is that you follow along and have fun. The flattened, saturated colors then becomes a perfect match. The vibrant explosions, this neon color swap as Aki peers into the future. If you had a problem with season 1, this movie's got you covered. But in the same way, if what you loved about season 1 was how the absurdity was wrapped around a gritty reality, you might have felt a little bit differently. The entire second half of this movie is either played for laughs or sheer spectacle, which I think puts it in a weird limbo. On one hand, this fight is cool as hell, but on the other, it's almost impossible to get an actual sense of the stakes here. Denji fucking dies. No problem, he'll get right back up, just give him some blood. He dies again. Okay, we are now giving the Z Fighters a run for their money. Meanwhile, Reze has blown up multiple city blocks, there is an active mega baby typhoon devil, and now Denji is quipping about cutting a cute girl's leg off, and suddenly, smash cut! Aki is holding on to Angel for dear life because he doesn't want to watch his homie die in front of him. The tonal whiplash here is fucking insane. It works in a medium like manga where you control the pace, but in the movie it's more like huh? What happened? The climax of the movie then becomes a sky beam of a situation. I am not concerned about Denji dying or civilian casualties anymore, and that is because we just witnessed Aki's second 9/11 and it was quirked the fuck up. Going back to season 1, the gunfire incident was sad, but it was also wildly surreal and unnerving in a way that knocks all rules off the table. Anything could happen. Aki's friends are father. I don't give a fuck if they die. It was funny and it was weird and it was cool. But the thing is, Aki gives way more fucks about those guys than I do. That's like the whole point of his character. And you learn more about it later, but Angel is right there with him. This bunch of softies exist in a world where the turnover rates are determined by your ability to numb yourself to love and connection. And yet, here they are, despite everything, choosing to hold on anyways. That is a beautiful character arc that you might have missed if you were busy laughing at the Sharknado joke. Listen, I loved the movie, and my complaining comes from a place of love, but like 40 straight minutes of the same fight where the stakes just get hollowed out is a long time. Is this a nitpick? Yes, 100%. Like, when the hell did Reze's explosion stop doing damage? But silver lining, the movie is this perfect 45-minute split of pure romantic ecstasy and a sheer animation spectacle. So if you don't fuck with one half of the movie for whatever reason, the other half's got you covered. The action is hype and everything surrounding that moment is what makes it worth it, not the other way around. Realistically, this movie is a great adaptation of the Reze arc propped up by stellar animation and accuracy down to the letter. I've seen a lot of people say that this style change is a perfect fit for this arc specifically, and I'm honestly inclined to agree. The Reze arc is about as lighthearted as it gets, and the vibrant colors and mesmerizing soundtrack is a perfect match. But I also think it's worth noting that this is a fast-paced movie, and if you aren't already watching to see the manga play out beat for beat, then the buy-in becomes a bit of a tall order. I'm betting most people will forget there was even a date with Makima at the start of the movie. At the end of the day, the Reze arc was great. Did it capture the magic that season 1 did for me? No, it's not even playing the same game as season 1, and I mean that at a fundamental level down to the tone of their respective arcs. In the end, the movie went and carved out a magic that is entirely its own, and I think that's something that makes the Reze arc just as unique and just as special. Where the fuck did that come from?